Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, hit the like, all of that good stuff. So, I don't usually do MMA videos. I did one about a month ago after UFC 249, and I have actually been watching a lot more MMA during this pandemic because ultimately there hasn't been any other sport on, to be honest, that I enjoy. And, you know, in watching more MMA, I've got to admit I've quite enjoyed it. I didn't really think UFC 250 was that great, but every other card I've seen, I've thoroughly enjoyed, to be honest. So, you know, this pandemic has certainly, given me more of an appreciation for MMA, and I've been enjoying it, I've got to say. I'm still a super casual MMA fan, don't get it twisted. Boxing is always going to be my main sport, and that is what this channel is all about and always will be about. But, just expect maybe an odd MMA video here and there. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not really sure yet. But UFC 251 has been announced, and the main card is exceptionally good. It's a card that contains not one, not two, but 3 world title fights. The UFC really have hit the ground running during this pandemic on their comeback, and they've put on some great fights, and this card is the best of the bunch. It's headlined by a middleweight title fight between Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. That's a great fight. As we know, Kamaru Usman, he won that belt from Tyron Woodley and defended against Colby Covington in a great fight, and he is fighting number 1 contender Gilbert Burns, who is coming off a win over Tyron Woodley in a fight which he dominated. So that's a really interesting fight, a really fun fight. Both guys are great grapplers. Both guys are good on the feet. That's going to be a really interesting, evenly matched fight. I would favour Kamaru Usman, but it's a good fight. You also have a rematch between Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. That is a featherweight title fight. Volkanovski beat Max Holloway in their last fight. That was a really good fight first time around. So I expect this rematch to deliver again. I do make Volkanovski the favourite, but it's a good fight. And listen, Max Holloway's a great fighter. On his day, I'm sure he can pull this off. But I do favour Alexander Volkanovski. And the third title fight is a bout between Petr Yan and Jose Aldo. This fight is for the vacant bantamweight title. I've got to be honest, I would have preferred Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, but this is still a really good fight. Petr Yan has been on a path of destruction, and Jose Aldo is a legend of the sport, a former pound-for-pound great. Yes, Aldo lost his last fight, and that was actually at bantamweight, but I felt he won that fight, and I felt he looked quite good coming down to bantamweight. So I think Petr Yan versus Jose Aldo is a really interesting fight. Petr Yan, he still really needs to step up to the elite level, and this is his biggest test to date. This is going to be a really interesting fight in my opinion. It's actually the fight that I struggle with most to pick the winner. I think, maybe Aldo's experience could be a bit too much in this one, as, also his quality as a fighter in general, his skill set. But, Petr Yan himself, he's a really good fighter and he's a lot fresher, so that's a really interesting fight. I'm kind of on the fence about this one, to be honest. And the other 2 fights on the card are 2 women's fights. Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas, that's a rematch. And also Paige Van Zant versus Amanda Ribas. So this card in general is stacked, and credit to Dana White for putting it on. This card will actually be on Fight Island on July 11th. So looking forward to it, I've got to say. And, the way the UFC's come back has been impressive. Ultimately, I'm a boxing fan. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. But I envy what Dana White is doing on this during this pandemic, because as boxing fans, we've had no fights, and what we've got to look forward to are basically mismatches. Top Rank are the first promoters coming back, but most of their fights they're putting on are really not great at all. They are basically all mismatches, apart from Ivan Baranchyk versus Jose Cepeda. That's really the only solid fight on their next few cards, to be honest. So UFC right now are killing it. They're showing boxing how it's done. And credit to Dana White and the UFC. Share your thoughts below. Peace.